Please be seated. As we contemplate the vastness of time in the cosmos, we are reminded that the first peoples of this ancient land have lived here for longer than any other humans on planet Earth. Ballarat lies on the land of the Wadawurrung and Dja people of the Kulin Nation, land that was taken from them without their consent, compensation or treaty. We honour and respect their elders, past, present and emerging, who carry their traditions and dreaming together with the deep wisdom of this land. With them, we join in yearning for and working towards justice and reconciliation.
Our opening words are responsive. Christ, we gather in your name to worship as a small part of the vast cosmos in our sanctuary called Earth. We invite the cosmos to gather with us. We invite moving galaxies in the sky to reflect their fascinating formation. We call distant domains of space to celebrate with us. We invite nebula, nova and black holes to thank God for their fascinating formation. We summon that piece of stardust called Earth to pulse with the rhythm of God's presence and celebrate creation in this planet garden. We invite millions of living species to dance with life. The platypus, the frog, the kangaroo, and the earthworm, ant, and the butterfly. Eternal God, creator and sustainer of all that exists, as we reflect on the mysteries and revelations of the cosmos, we celebrate the marvellous design of the universe and the wisdom that guides its course. May we become ever more conscious of our responsibilities to and connectedness with all living people, plants and animals of the cosmos community. May we learn to act in ways that protect, encourage and love rather than destroy, judge and hate. This we seek to preserve our sacred planet, thereby living in the way of love demonstrated by Jesus of Nazareth. So let it be. Welcome to this, the fourth Sunday of the Seasons of Creation, where the normal lectionary is set aside for us to both celebrate and wonder at the beauty of creation, as well as to mourn our misuse, even abuse of it. This welcome this morning should have been given by the Reverend David Volk, but unfortunately he can't quite make it this morning, so we know he's watching in, so we wish him well and hopefully a speedy recovery. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for these beautiful creations of art. Don't they look terrific? As that guy out of, Are You Being Served said, you've all done very well. It did, but thank you for joining in and doing it so willingly, and they certainly look fine. This morning, the service is presented by our Explorers group, and this group will be exploring connecting with the cosmos through three themes: our beginnings, our connection, our responsibility, in which we travel from the macro to the micro, from the universal to the personal, indeed asking, how can we truly love nature? David feels indebted to this very special group, the Explorers, and our members have worked for many weeks, sometimes frustratingly, to create a service that would do true justice to such an important theme as connecting to the cosmos. And we would like to acknowledge the music provided by Roger Peck, who, in selecting music from Gustav Holst's The Planet, truly complements our theme, as does Helen Duggan and the choir in their singing of the cosmos in all its wonder by New Zealander Bruce Wallace. So welcome to all.
Our beginnings. May we open ourselves to the seeds of wisdom that lie dormant in these and our additional readings. And may our minds and hearts be fertile soil in which they might grow strong and true. So the first reading is from our biblical tradition. It's from Proverbs Chapter 8, verses 22 to 31. Right, and this part is actually a poem. And it's obviously about wisdom. And wisdom here is portrayed as a woman. And she sees her role as being there in the very beginning, before the earth was created. So have a listen. Reading for verses 22 to 31 of chapter 8. This is wisdom's part in creation. The Lord created me at the beginning of his work, the first of his acts of long ago. Ages ago I was set up at the first, before the beginning of the earth. And when there were no depths, I was brought forth. And when there were no springs abounding with water, and before the mountains had been shaped, before the hills, I was brought forth. And when he had not yet made earth and fields, or the world's first bits of soil, when he established the heavens, I was there. And when he drew a circle on the face of the deep, when he made firm the skies above, when he established the fountains of the deep, when he assigned to the sea its limit, so that the waters might not transgress his command, when he marked out the foundations of the earth, then I was beside him, like a master worker, and I was daily his delight, playing before him always, playing in his inhabited world.
This is a contemporary reading. The first second, the flaring forth, Big Bang. What happened in that very first fraction of a second after the great flaring forth may be as important as anything that happened in the 10 billion years after it. If the universe had expanded 1 trillionth of a second faster, then protons, neutrons, and electrons could never have developed into more complex forms. If it had expanded 1 trillionth of a second slower, everything would have collapsed in on itself. We are alive to tell this because of the precise rate of expansion set in place on the first second of the flaring forth Big Bang. What is more, we can no longer think about the flaring forth as filling up pre-existing space, like a bunch of guests arriving at your house and filling it up. Prior to the flaring forth, there was no house to fill up. There was no universe, and there was not pre-existing empty space. The stream of particles was creating space. And so ends the first of 8 epochs of our universe story, the 7th being the emergence of life on our planet, and the 8th being the emergence of conscious self-reflection in the human race.
This poem is by a modern writer, Mary Oliver, and it's called Morning in a New Land. In trees, still dripping night, some nameless birds woke, shook out their arrowy wings and sang, slowly, like finches sifting through a dream. The pink sun fell like glass into the fields. 2 chestnuts and a dapple grey, their shoulders wet with light, their dark hair streaming, climbed the hill. The last mist fell away. And under the trees, beyond time's brittle drift, I stood like Adam in his lonely garden, on that first morning, shaken out of sleep, rubbing his eyes, listening, parting the leaves like tissue on some vast, incredible gift.
The psalm, the cosmos in all its wonder, Roger will play it first, the melody. The choir will sing the first couplet, and then we will all sing from the beginning. And the leader, obviously, is the choir, and you are the all.
Cosmos let us enter a time of reflective prayer of gratitude. We gather here today knowing that we are one with the billions of galaxies of the vast cosmos, and we acknowledge and celebrate with thankfulness our connectedness with all that exists. We give thanks for this ancient land, for its rich diversity of country and of its people. We give thanks for the first Australians who know and understand this land with an intimate and profound sensitivity. We acknowledge the courage of later explorers and settlers. We celebrate its unique flora, fauna, and resources. We are mindful of and thankful for all those people through human history who have opened our minds to a deeper appreciation of our connectedness with all creation. We are challenged to practice their insights in all that we do, in our generosity, our forgiveness, our readiness to accept and relate to others with compassion and care, and in our mindful care of this planet. We especially give thanks for Jesus of Nazareth, who demonstrated the depth of the human spirit in its capacity to love, to trust, and to hope. He showed us that this spirit is the Spirit of God at work in our lives, for God is love. So let it be.
And we conclude with the words based on the prayer of Jesus. We recognise a great mystery within us and the whole universe. We are aware of this mystery pervading all things. Our actions are guided by the wisdom of past generations. We are thankful that our daily needs are met. We understand that the necessity of forgiveness in all of our relationships, with honesty and transparency in everything we do. We can't
needed to create a better world. We believe that our respect for the mystery will empower us
forever. So let it be. We offer these gifts as tokens of our commitment to the maintenance of this church, the support of the minister and his staff, and for the help of people who are less fortunate than we are. May these gifts be a reminder of our responsibility to always be aware of the need to love our neighbour in the most practical ways. So let it be.
Good morning, friends. Today we want to acknowledge that the Skipton Street congregation celebrates their 160th anniversary. And if you read the Courier yesterday, you would have seen their anniversary got some publicity. So we wish them well with their celebratory service and lunch today. A further reminder of the upcoming Older and Wiser session, at which to hear information regarding ageing and caring for aged family or friends. It will be held in the Peart Wing on Sunday the 16th of October from 11:45 to 1:30 p.m, and lunch will be provided. The speakers will deal with two broad topics: help in the home and dementia. Of course, you're most welcome to bring any interested friends, but for catering purposes, we ask that you register your interest on the sign-up sheet in the foyer or contact Miriam, Peck or Karen Code. The next issue of Beacon will come out on Sunday the 9th of October, so please send any articles or photos or other contributions to our editor Leanne by next Sunday the 2nd of October. A final request that anyone interested in undertaking first aid training, please speak with me after the service this morning. Next Sunday, we continue in the season of creation at our 10 a.m. service. At 2 p.m, there will be the blessing of the animal service, followed by afternoon tea. If you're bringing an animal, you're reminded to ensure that small animals are in cages and that larger animals are suitably restrained, please. Now, next Sunday is also the start of daylight saving, so please remember to deal with your clocks appropriately, otherwise you might miss a service that you wanted to attend. Thank you.
And now we come to the second segment of our service, our Connectedness. We celebrate the interconnectedness that is our life, all life. Stardust and mountains, wildflowers and rainforests, gilled ones of river and sea, and feathered ones of the air. Kangaroo and desert dingo, earthworm, butterfly and bacteria. First peoples and recent arrivals, sacred wisdom of the sages and the consciousness of prophets. Being and beauty flow thrilling through all the universe in this great procession of life. Remembering Jesus. In our gathering, we call to mind he, in the wisdom tradition of Galilean sage, we know as Jesus. Born of woman and Hebrew gene pool, he too was a creature of earth, a moment in the biological evolution of this planet. Like all human beings, he carried within himself the signature of the supernovas and the geology and life history of the Earth. For just as the Milky Way is the universe in the form of a galaxy, and the wedge-tailed eagle is the universal form of a bird, Jesus was, and we are, the universe in the form of a human. May we care for our planet. May we nurture this piece of stardust. May we celebrate with the cosmos.
I'd like to lead you now in a guided meditation. In this guided meditation, adapted from the original by Michael Oman Regan, you're invited to experience the interconnections of your everyday life with the cosmos. Perhaps you want to start by getting as comfortable as you can in your seat. Perhaps close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths. We begin. We live together with all the life on Earth, atop a thin layer of mineral and organic material covering the surface of our planet. Life is born from this layer of material. Life returns to it and then re-emerges again in new forms. Our planet has an amazing life support system, part of our complex everyday environment, which keeps us and all life breathing and continuing. Water is an essential contributor to life, circulating from clouds to the planet's surface. Some evaporates into the sky, then falls again as rain. Water also circulates through our bodies. The water in you was once a cloud, perhaps fell as snowflakes or flowed in a river. It may have been in a kangaroo, a whale, a fly, a mushroom, a tree. The water in us reminds us of the interconnectedness of all life on Earth. As our planet rotates, night turns to dawn, and later the day darkens to sunset, and afterwards at night, the skies can be seen to be full of stars. The Earth circles the sun, a star at the heart of our solar system once every year. At the same time, our entire solar system is also in motion, moving around the centre of the Milky Way galaxy, along with gas, dust, and a myriad of stars and planetary systems. In turn, our galaxy is moving as part of an almost unimaginably vast river of galaxies. Inside one filament of massive galactic superclusters, surging together along cosmic threads of gravitational flow, like rivers across the continents, flowing to the sea. To conclude our meditation, I invite you now to join in the responses. You are on the Earth. You are in the solar system. You are travelling around the galaxy. You are crossing the universe. You are moving in space. The cosmos is interbeing. You are the cosmos.
We come now to our responsibility. Last Thursday week, you were sent out a letter from the President of the Uniting Church to the General Secretary in Victoria. I don't know if you read it or saw it. It came with the order of service and the link. And it was a resolution, a call to action for climate justice, particularly listening to First Peoples' wisdom. And this was adopted with acclamation at the 16th Assembly earlier this year. It shows part of our responsibility in our action, taking of that responsibility seriously. Today and each of the Sundays of this month of creation, we have been urged to listen to the voice of creation. We have thought about our connectedness to the earth and the amazing cosmos, and the mounting evidence of the destruction and abuse of the earth by modern civilization. We have celebrated the wonder of creation and bemoaned the exploitation of the earth by its people. We are conscious of our responsibility to play our part in turning this destruction around. This awareness is not new, either in the world at large or in our own uniting church. There are multiple calls for action to reduce the extraction and use of fossil fuels and consequent carbon emissions, and to support those who will suffer most from the impact of continuing natural disasters, the rising oceans, and from the loss of food, water and fuel for cooking and warmth. Since 1991 at least, the Uniting Church Assembly has been expressing its concern and the need for action. In 2020, the Assembly developed a national climate action plan, which is available on the UCA website. A national climate action plan. And this is what I just wanted to talk to you about briefly. The action plan highlights the following principles: spiritual and theological grounding, 2, prioritising the voices of First Peoples and those most affected by climate change, 3, whole of church responses, not just by the few, but by all of us, working in collaboration, something that they label every member ministry. It's a ministry that we all need to participate in, and supporting our rural farming and mining communities. The Uniting Church is a member of the Pacific Conference of Churches, with whom we will work closely to implement this plan. Over the next 5 years, we will focus on 3 main areas. Firstly, prophetic, raising our voice for stronger action. We will speak with a prophetic voice, advocating to government and the Church to bring about practical and just climate action. This includes the development and dissemination of theological and educational resources that place care for creation in its spiritual and theological context. Secondly, practical. We will walk the talk in climate action through emissions reduction and adaptation responses associated with our own assembly operations, and call on all parts of the church to join in this endeavour. Assembly can't just decide it for us. We need to make our own decisions and act upon them. And thirdly, pastoral. We will prioritise pastoral care for those within the community who are most affected by the impacts of climate change, and solidarity and support for partner churches, especially in the Pacific. Let us hear the call of the Assembly and work with the Church to do our part in minimising the negative emissions impact and the accumulation of non-degradable rubbish in our world. At the same time, as we reach out to those who need our support most.
With David out of action today, he has asked me to deliver the words that he was going to be saying, and I thank David for this opportunity and send my very best wishes, David. We start with some excerpts from Matthew 6:27 to 33. Take a look at the birds of the sky. They don't plant or harvest or gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. You're worth more than they, aren't you? Can any of you add 1 hour to life by fretting about it? Why worry about clothes? Notice how the wild lilies grow. They don't toil and they never spin. But let me tell you, even Solomon, at the height of his glory, was never decked out like one of them. If God dresses up the grass in the field, which is here today and is thrown in the oven tomorrow, won't God care for you even more with your meagre trust? Seek God's empire and his justice first, and all these things will come to you as a bonus. So David wants us to concentrate on paying attention to the lilies of the field and learning to love nature. Way back in 1967, historian Lynn White claimed that the current ecological crisis, at least in part, derives from Christian tradition, which teaches us to see ourselves as superior to nature, willing to use it at the slightest whim. From the mindless ploughing down of trees to the destruction of wildflowers, animal life, precious topsoil, in the name of asphalt and concrete. All done because God told us to have dominion. Genesis 1:26 to 31. More accurately, God gives us responsibility as stewards of the earth, not dominators. Let us make humankind in our image and let them have dominion. Adding to this tradition of dominion and human-centeredness, we humans are the epitome, the climax of creation. Nature is at our disposal to be used as we like. The Judeo-Christian view is of a God who stands over and above creation, the Lord of heaven and earth. This contrasts sharply with the notion of God, or the life force in Eastern religions, as illustrated in the brilliant book by Karen Armstrong, Sacred Earth, where such a life force is totally part of the created world. So here we have a triple whammy: as dominators, as having an anthropometric, human-centred view of creation, and having a view of God as over and above creation. Thank God we are moving from this. Then how do we change? How do we learn to love nature? Really love nature? Sally McFade, noted eco-theologian, in her essay Consider the Lilies of the Field, How Should Christians Love Nature?, suggests three things. Don't view the world of creation with arrogant eye. It's the arrogant eye that regards the world as an object to be used, exploited in our own interests. Rather, McFay says, regard the world of nature with a loving eye. That means that we regard the world of nature, and of course people, as subjects, not objects. This is the essence, I believe, of the commandment to love our neighbours as ourselves, as subjects to be loved, not used. So it must be the same with our relationships with nature. In the quest to love nature, McFaig offers a third suggestion, and that is to pay attention. The words of Jesus, "Consider the lilies of the field," could be much better translated as pay attention to the lilies of the field. Consider is a bit academic. It's a bit like taking your best photograph. So slow down, take in every detail. See that piece of nature as part of you. And remember, nature does not need us. We need nature. We are dependent on it. And just to be thoroughly into faith, David closes with the words of the Veda, the body of religious texts from ancient India. O God, scatterer of ignorance and darkness, grant me your strength. May all beings regard me the eye of a friend, and I, all beings. With the eye of a friend, may each single being regard each other. And now let us close our service with an act of commitment. In response to the words reflected on, and in solidarity with the universe and all who dwell therein, we recognise our interconnectedness to all of creation. We confirm that we are one with the sustainer of the universe, the great mystery beyond all names, incomprehensible to our minds, always and everywhere present and alive. We are one with galaxies of galaxies, with exploding stars and newly formed planets, with life emerging in places and in ways beyond our imagining. We are one with life on earth, mountains, rivers, forests, flowers, desert, oceans with creatures that live on under and above the land and seas. We are one with all people throughout the ages, with those of every nation, caste and creed, with those who are marginalised, oppressed and abused. We are one with the voice of Jesus, who calls us to believe in and be true to our innate interconnectedness with every person and everything in the universe. We are committed to ensuring that all creation is better off because we honour this interconnectedness and walk lightly on the earth. In sharing this time together, we, in our time and place, enter into a new relationship with sacred wisdom, with planet and with one another, to feel our kinship with all life, to raise our voice in the service of life, to love kindness and to seek justice, to live in harmony and awaken to peace. May we sense the wonder of what is yet to be. We are part of earth, earth is part of us, and as we consider this earth our home, may we continue to walk upon it and with reverence. So let it be.
Jupiter to finish.